What's next? I had a friend that lived in the neighborhood and she was a cancer survivor. She was a breast cancer survivor. And probably about 2 or 3 weeks after my initial diagnosis, she showed up at my door one day and I was just never so happy to see someone. She came in and she sat down and we chatted for a while, and it was just wonderful to be able to say all the things that I wanted to say and express all my fears and say things that I really hadn't been comfortable yet saying to my family because I didn't want to scare them, and I was trying to be positive around them, and it was just wonderful to be able to talk to someone who knew exactly how I was feeling. She would come and she would visit me periodically, and we would have nice visits together, and she would bring me little goodies, and so we would have some great visits together. And I mentioned to her one time, I said, I'm starting this clinical trial and I'm on this drug and it's in the experimental stage, and it would really be nice to talk to someone who's also been on the medication. So she told me there's actually a way to do that. She told me all about what's next, and she said I could log on, I could set up my account. She said you have to put in your diagnosis, and you can tell as little or as much as you want about your own story. And the more you tell, the more it helps them connect you with people with similar stories. So I did, and I set up my account, and a couple hours later, I logged on to my account, and I already had 4 people that had visited my page. 2 people had just stopped to welcome me, and then 2 other people stopped, and they both had stage 4 melanoma, and they wanted to just basically welcome me and ask me if I had any questions. And so I was really excited about that, and I reread that a couple times to make sure they really meant it. And so I asked them, I fired away, and it turned out one of the gentlemen was actually on the same drug that I was going to be taking. And so he was able to share his day to day experience and whether or not he was able to work and that kind of thing. So it was just really comforting to get on there and talk to other people. And I would ask questions of the community, and the community would try and help me through different things that I was going through. So I was a little more prepared for what exactly to expect. I remember one night I had a really low night at the hospital. It was 2 in the morning. I was on some heavy duty steroids and I was just really struggling, and I couldn't stop crying, and it was probably the hardest I had cried through this whole thing. And so I logged on to what's next and I put in my question to the community, and I said, this is going on. This has never happened to me. Has anybody else experienced this? And probably within an hour, I had several people that just were trying to encourage me, were saying yes, they had been through it, and to allow myself a good cry when I needed to. And it just was nice to just feel like there were lots of people out there reaching out and trying to help me and get me through it. And it just really gave me a real reassurance. And I just felt like I had been kind of hugged by the community. So it was just a good feeling. And the other thing about what's next that's really been beneficial for me is I wanted to give back. I kind of wanted to do what Jen, my neighbor, did for me and just show up and help other people that are going through cancer. But unfortunately, with the RA and the hip and different things, sometimes I'm not able to get out and do as much as I would like to get out and do. So I can log on to what's next. I can connect with other people, and I can find other people that are also just starting out like I was almost 4 years ago. And so they are as scared as I was, and they may even have some of the same questions. And so I can answer some of their questions. I can give them advice. I can try and help them through what they're going through. And sometimes all I can do is just say, I'm here. And if you need someone to talk, I'm here. And just to ask your questions or vent or whatever you need. So that's a real good part of what's next. It just gives you real comfort to know that you can also give back to, and especially since so many have given back to me, that's nice to be able to give back to others. So there was one gentleman, he was trying to walk his daughter down the aisle and he wanted to be well enough to do that. And I just remember waiting that whole Saturday when I knew his daughter's wedding and logging on, and when we saw the pictures on Sunday morning he was able to do that. I just remember celebrating with him. So it's neat that we can celebrate, together, and we can cry together and we can support each other. So it's been a great comfort and a great resource for me all through this whole 4 years.